DJ Toasty Z, Hip Hop Made Me Do It. You already know what the fuck it is. It's the 6th ever Hip Hop Made Me Do It podcast. Like I said, you already know what the fuck it is, and if you don't now, you do. We're chilling out in New Jersey. We got Young Murder Beats in the building.
Not Young Murder Beats.
Just a Murder Beats look-alike.
Yeah.
We got the chain and all. I've been goofing on you for the hairdo and the...
Yeah, all day yesterday.
But you already know, if you've been watching the podcast in the past, we have the reoccurring guest...
The legend,
Charlie.
They call me the co-pilot.
The
on
co-pilot.
The show, a riot.
Oh, bars for days.
My 40 view podcast.
You need to talk into the mic, not away from the mic.
Okay.
Oh, let me just talk over here. No, talk right here.
Sorry, the camera's distracting. So I was
Well,
looking
just
at the camera.
yeah, it's all good. Pretend the camera's not even there. Pretend we're just having a conversation.
I think we've had this talk before.
Yeah, so... No, yeah, I'm just... You know.
Gotcha.
It's
and
all
you're
practice.
going to look at the camera in like half an hour from now, and I'm going to tell you, like, I thought you said, look at me.
The only time I look at the camera is to check that the battery's not running low because, like I said, we had the camera that I was supposed to be fully charged. I put it on the charger, and now for some reason it only has 2 bars. So we're rolling with it. We might switch out with the phone camera midway. But the things that I wanted to talk about, I thought it'd be good to do a podcast talking about the Drake Pusha T beef. At first I was like, oh, I don't know if I have anything to say. And then I was like, oh, it's too late. Like, everything's already happened. But it might be good to just go through the whole timeline and recap everything and really assess it. Since the beef is unofficially over.
Who said that?
Well, you said you read a report. That's why I'm asking. You read some report this morning?
I read that his track's done. Drake has a response track. And his features, or something to do with Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne is heavily involved, is what I read.
Oh, I thought you said that, like, Drake's not going to respond.
No, his track is done, I was told, and Lil Wayne's heavily involved in the whatever the track is. I don't know, I guess they're waiting till tonight, or maybe, I think it's going to come out today.
I mean,
you can't wait too long.
It better come out today. What, it's been since Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday night.
Like, Drake needed to respond
2 days ago.
Yeah, so he dropped that track on Tuesday. Drake needed to respond on Thursday with the actual diss. Instead, he just put out a press release like, damage control. Just to start off, and I also thought it'd be cool at the end if we could just, I don't have any, like, written down thoughts on it, but I've listened to the Kanye album a bit, so thought we could talk a little bit about general first thoughts, and I've listened to it, like, 3, probably 4 times. Don't have a set opinion on it yet, but still figuring it out. So just to start off, do you have any general thoughts on the beef before I get into the timeline of everything and in detail?
I was watching the Joe Budden podcast, and I thought it was really funny because they were talking about, apparently they were going to talk about Infrared, the song on Daytona by Pusha T that started it recently. Yeah. And then W Freestyle by Drake. And then they said that the description said they were going to talk about the story of, is it Adidon?
Add-on? I don't know.
A lot of people, I've heard many things.
Yeah.
Adidon. We'll go with Adidon. Hopefully that's right. But the whole talk was very awkward because, not awkward, but they were like saying like Drake won. Like they were saying that they went pro Drake, all of them, which is very odd based on what everyone else is saying. I was like, what are they talking about? Because I watched the video or the podcast way later than it was recorded. So
yeah.
Like, did they hear this Pusha T song at the end, the story of Adidon? So then halfway through the podcast, like breaking news. So they record Tuesday nights, so it came out then. It was funny, and then they were like, "Okay, Pusha T, yeah."
Yeah, it was like a live reaction. They like paused. They're like, "All right, take back every." It's
funny
because I watched the 2 segments. It was like the story of Adidon and or whatever the first segment of it was, and then like their response afterwards. I didn't watch it as one full clip, so it was just like. It was really funny to see, like, at the end, like, they're all like, yeah, Drake won, Drake's winning, and then, Joe Budden's like, Pusha's winning,
and now we're a podcast, what you just did. Why'd you have to side, Drake?
Why'd you have to sigh? I thought that was really funny. Speaking of the sigh, I thought it was very funny because someone tweeted out, or someone quoted a tweet because they're like, it was a tweet that someone tweeted before Pusha T dropped the diss track, and he was like, Drake sighing like a disappointed father. And then someone like quote tweeted it, and he's like, this tweet didn't age very well. So yeah, I think it'd be cool. Like I said, just general thoughts. I think it was funny because Drake just tried to shrug off Pusha T like he did with Meek Mill. You know, he's like, "Oh, I can't believe I have to do this. The audacity, the nerve. Like, I'm just gonna throw out this quick response, and it'll be over."
But they did more like a flex act. Like it's Drake, so he's like, and he's so big, he's like, "Oh man, this song's so good I have right now." Like, this audacity, and they just gonna go in on him.
Yeah, he was overconfident, and then I think it was funny that he tried to shrug off like he did with Meek Mill, and then Pusha T just came back and slapped him in the face, like, deal with this now. And I feel like everyone's always like talking about his diss tracks and saying like, oh, like he made back to back, and that was just a hit record, and he that was good enough, and like it. To me, they were always half-assed diss tracks. They were just like, I'm gonna make a hit song and I'll throw a couple lines in there, and you know, for me, if I want to hear a diss track, I want to hear you actually like go in on someone. Like, this is a diss track. We're not trying to make a club record, which some people are saying like, oh, it's kind of like the ultimate chess move in a way. As a disrespect, is like, you're not even worthy of a full diss. I'm gonna like make a hit song and just throw some jabs in you that just in there to destroy you. You know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It kind of just showed that Drake isn't a battle rapper, and I personally don't think he's capable of something like an Ether or what Pusha T is able to do. Like, he might be able to come out with some nice bars here and there, but like, I feel like most of his diss records, Meek just wasn't that great of an opponent.
He also was on tour, which also put Meek at a huge disadvantage. Like, that's why he took forever to respond, because he was literally on tour for I don't know what album it was at the time. Maybe it was the Rico album. That was the song with Drake or whatever.
But Drake even said, like, don't push me when I'm in album mode. But it's like,
when is his album?
That dropped, and we still haven't had a response from him. It's like he's just in damage control mode.
What is he doing? Is his album out in June?
I don't know the exact date that it dropped.
Like Scorpion or something.
I don't know all the details.
I think the album's called Scorpion, or he has this jacket he's been wearing called that says Scorpio or Scorpion on the back. I don't know. I might check out the album.
You might. You just might. So yeah, I don't know if you have any other further thoughts, but I think it'd be cool to go through the timeline of the beef and just kind of analyze it. Not like super not necessarily in detail, but any like elements that we thought would be cool to point out and pick out.
Do you think Push went too far?
I do not think so, because that was a question I was gonna like have us discuss, but I mean, to me, it's like, there's certain people that are like, oh, as soon as you bring up my wife, now I can say whatever I want about you.
That's what the angle was, I think.
But it's like, this is not a this is not a game. These are real diss records. Like, this is what a real diss track is. This none of this like he's going straight to the point of like, okay, I can't diss you about ghostwriting. Like, that's gonna bounce right off of you. I can't do this about you. Well, I can question your integrity. I mean, they were like definitely I guess when we're talking about if it goes too far, we're talking about like the 40 thing, right?
Yeah.
Just like it was. I mean, they were definitely low blows, but I don't think it's like, and it's shitty, but it's like it's a diss record. Like, you're trying to rip someone apart.
Yeah.
And
I don't think it's fair to limit what you can and can't say if you're trying to diss somebody.
Yeah, and plus this is hip hop. We shouldn't be limiting what you can and can't say.
That's what makes it hip hop.
That's what makes hip hop. We're referencing a very corny white woman dancing as a hip hop dance video, and it's funny meme. You guys should check it out.
Also, 40's Drake's OVO producer, right?
Yeah, and I mean, like,
what does he have? What does he have?
Well, I think he has multiple sclerosis, because he said that it was also on like national or like international MS Day or something like that. So, which was just a coincidence apparently. Oh. But for me, it's the type of thing where I might not necessarily say it and want to put my name behind it, but I wouldn't say you can't say it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would never tell Pusha like, oh, you can't do that. I might not want to do it, and it could have backfired on him because of the fact that, like, it's funny because, like, Drake, people forget that, like, Drake's image switched up. He used to be like this, like, he used to be the pushy rapper, like, you know, like, that's what he was. Like, he would just make songs for girls to dance to in the club. and that's fine, or like sad songs, and like that's fine. And then he tried to be tough, but I think it's showing that like it almost is like
I liked him that he's taking down a notch. I like that.
if someone that's super hard tries to diss someone that's not super hard, like a hard rapper, they're just like a fun rapper, and they just go in. It's almost like, why are you picking on them? That's how it feels. I'm not saying Drake is like not lyrically up to that level, but there was a certain point when Drake was kind of not, I don't want to say he was a joke, but as far as like lyricism, no one thought he was like tough. And that was always my problem with Drake, is that I feel like he's fronting a little bit. There's like a element of authenticity that's like not quite there. And
like
and
every rapper.
I feel like that beef, not every rapper, like hip hop originated out of authenticity, but like there are certain, I don't know, I would say that there's this beef kind of has showed that there's like more to Drake than he wants to admit, and he's not fully authentic. Like he's so calculated in everything that he does, and when you get like that, it is good from an artistic perspective, but it also is like the authenticity gets stripped from it, and like that's why like Kanye's album's been connecting with me. We can get to that, but it's like I feel like I don't know. I feel like there's something that Drake's holding back. I mean, obviously there was something that he was hiding. He was a kid, yeah. Let's just go through it.
I think when you're as big as Drake, though, you have to be really calculated, and then might take away your authenticity. But he's a superstar. He's the biggest rap figure in hip hop.
Yeah,
basically.
I think it's all about balance. Like you have to have a balance of authenticity, like not just like obviously if you're just all raw, then you can get in trouble. You know, Kanye shows that when he's 100% not filtering himself, he gets himself into trouble.
Post Malone did that too.
Post Malone did that as well. You know, Lil Xan. The list goes on and on. But sometimes it's warranted, sometimes it's not. But you're always to an extent, I feel like the people that are 100% raw are always appreciated, you know, and it is a balance for sure. You don't want to say anything. You don't want to say you have to balance like authenticity and rawness and honesty with empathy. That's my philosophy.
I like that.
So we can go through the timeline. I think we're gonna probably bring up things that relate to the timeline. So let's just go through the timeline, and then I'm sure things will come up.
Like back to 06?
Well, even I don't know. Do you think it started at 06?
I saw an article yesterday about different things. So originally it started because there's a Pusha T and Lil Wayne thing in Birdman.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that Lil Wayne, that was happening. And then Drake was just kind of like, you know, his Lil Wayne's buddy. And then he just got hit in the crossfires. And then over to like in the early 2010s, it became more Push and Drake. And then I know Drake had that song. What I remember beginning is the Two Birds, One Stone, where he's taking shots at Kid Cudi.
Before that I was going to say Exodus 20. The first one I remember, there's stuff before this, I'm sure, but it was like Push was beefing with Birdman and kind of Lil Wayne, but mostly like Birdman being like shady with the money. And that was a diss aimed at Lil Wayne and Birdman. And then I guess Two Birds, One Stone was after Exodus. That was like shots at Pusha from Drake.
And Kid Cudi.
He was, that's the other thing about going too far. There was tweets about this. Is like people that say he went too far about like mental health. Kid Cudi, I mean Drake can't talk. I mean Drake didn't say that he went too far, but it's like if you're defending Drake, like he went too far, like talking about his health. Drake literally was like insulting Kid Cudi's mental health, and like he can't really talk.
Time.
What?
Kid Cudi was in rehab at the song.
Yeah, and it made him look bad at the time. It made Drake look like an ass. So it's like, how can you say
I think it's because Kid Cudi isn't that tough guy, like you just said about going too in. Kid Cudi's not a tough guy.
But neither is 40. I'm talking about the disses at 40. So it's like,
you
can't defend Drake and say, oh, I mean, you can't defend and be like, you can't forget one and the other and not forget the other. It's like. Drake also went at Kid Cudi's mental health. That doesn't excuse Pusha T attacking 40's health, but it's like we have to assess the whole situation. It's not like Drake is the saint that didn't do the same exact thing.
Yeah, but everyone sees things through a different visor depending on the situation.
Yeah, definitely. So this, like I said, this is a beef that kind of got reignited that started as a Pusha T beefing with Birdman and Lil Wayne. Obviously, there's more details to it. I did see a timeline where it was like even further before Exodus. I don't remember what caused Pusha T to write Exodus 24.
Oh, I remember. In 06, Lil Wayne. So I'm not really that familiar with Pusha T's history. What's the group he was in with?
Clips.
And what was the buddy?
No Malice is his brother.
So No Malice. Okay. Yeah. Is he dead? Is he?
No, he just like popped out of hip hop. He just
Gotcha.
he became religious and.
So apparently, Lil Wayne was doing a magazine cover. He was wearing clothes that apparently, what's their name called?
Was it Pharrell's brand? Was it the Big Baller?
Pharrell
brand?
was a producer for them, I was told.
Yeah.
But they're wearing clothes that they started.
Or not
something.
Big Baller brand. Sorry, that's.
I don't know. I know
Billionaire. Was it B? I think it's BBC. I don't remember what the acronym
But
is.
Lil Wayne was wearing clothes that they started or they were trending with or wearing, and then he said in an interview that he didn't get it for them or something, and then something about that's how it started with the magazine cover and clothing.
Okay, yeah, and I know that there was also something about Pusha did a song with or Clips did a song with Birdman. What happened to that boy? And I forget what track. I don't know if he referenced it on Infrared, but he referenced it on some track recently. And basically, what he was saying was that I think someone had mentioned that there was an issue with like payment involving the video. Someone like not getting the person that shot the video only getting like half of it. I can't verify that. This is just like I don't know the exact story, so I don't want to say that it's 100% true. But so I know he did reference back to that track in one of the recent songs. But yeah, so basically you have Pusha T's album Infrared dropped last Friday now?
It's called Daytona.
Yeah, Daytona. Album dropped with the song Infrared. I figure we could just I wrote some general thoughts on it because I listened to it beforehand, but I figure we could just play it. I will have to cut it out of the YouTube video, but we could play it, and then you could give any thoughts just as a refresher.
Now, will I be able to hear the song? Will it be going through your headphones?
I'm going to play it through my phone because
Gotcha.
we didn't have I wanted to have, eventually, just so the listeners know, we're going to have an aux cord plug-in, so it'll play directly through the audio interface and sound really great and play tunes just like we did on the radio, so a combination of talking and tunes. But I forgot this connector that would allow me to plug it in. So we
do a
can't
sleeper section at the end.
Sleeper section? What do you mean by sleeper
Joe
section?
Budden Podcast does at the end of the podcast. Each member picks a song that they've been feeling from the week that is not that big. They play it.
That would be a good concept.
It's really
I need
fun.
to listen to more podcasts to get more ideas. We got to call it something different, though, so it's not a complete knockoff.
Instead of sleepers, I'll call it snoozers.
So it's like songs that they
like
that they think
one
are
of their
overlooked,
catchphrases,
or like
it's not big. They'll be like, "Do we have sleepers?" That's like a catchphrase that they want to get out of the podcast. And they're just like annoyed, like, "Do we have sleepers?" Because they just play the songs in entirety, and then they're pretty much done. And then they'll be like, "This is Alcatraz, and that dope," and then the song just plays. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I've heard the songs like Joe Budden will play a black song that just came out.
A black song? What do you mean?
6 Black.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
This is a black song.
I'm gonna just
you sound like an old white guy.
I'm gonna call him 6
Black music.
I decided I'm gonna call him 6 Black because people will know what I'm saying. But it combines.
I've seen it written. I didn't know
it's
people.
It's
I didn't know it
black.
was just like
it's
pronounced
terrible.
black.
It doesn't look like that. I said 6 Black, but it's black.
It's just black.
So I just say 6 Black, so you know.
Oh, it's like that whole thing when they were replacing the letters with numbers, and then it became really lame after a while.
But usually it's just 3 with an E. 6 and a B don't really work that well.
But ASAP did that kind of with like, they kind of made their A's into V's.
I never saw
or like
that.
triangle. ASAP, when they spelled ASAP, remember that their hats was like VSVP.
Oh yeah.
And the same as like V-Loan, which fuck V-Loan.
I think that's kind of trash, but
it is trash. I mean, the letters with numbers is so old. Plus,
$sign for the S is old. It's way old too.
Yeah. Plus, whatever the guy, ASAP Bari, the guy that created V-Loan, is mad fucking sketchy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you hold the whole story about that.
Thing, yeah. But yeah, they do a sleeper section, so I always wanted to do that. That'd be really cool.
For sure. Well, I want to incorporate music into it for sure. Which let's play this track and then Yeah, first of all, did you have any...
I'll be honest, I never actually have heard that song before.
You never heard it?
I listened to
good that we played it.
I listened to Daytona, but I just didn't finish it because, like, Pusha T is obviously good, but I find that his lyrics are just too much for me. Like, he's got a lot of vocabulary that I don't understand, and
it's heavy. It's some of that stuff. Pusha T is the type of lyricism where he says some stuff, and you're like, that was crazy. I don't know. You have to kind of like go back. There's a lot of weird references, and like, there's, I don't know. He has a very regal vocabulary. I don't know. There's a lot of like, that's how I would describe it. Like, there's like, I don't know. There's like a feeling of like royalty, but also mixed with the cocaine dealing. He's like talks about dealing cocaine in a new, but he does it every new way,
right?
Like in a new way every time that's like unique. Where it's just like,
but it's kind of
he rarely uses the word crack or cocaine because he doesn't have to.
Every other artist that does that is like they're like seen as every song's the same.
Yeah, well, it's like you can talk about the same stuff and say it in a new, innovative way each time.
Big vocabulary.
Yeah, exactly. You need to figure out new, innovative ways to say things. You know, but
I was surprised listening to that song. I was just thinking about it. I was surprised Lil Wayne and Birdman haven't. I mean, Birdman's like what 80, but I feel like they should make
he's not 80. He's probably not even 60.
Yeah, he's probably like in his 50s or maybe late 40s actually. But they should. I'm surprised like Lil Wayne didn't make a song or something
About Birdman
or Pusha T. Then again, I don't think Pusha T really dissed Lil Wayne. He just
he didn't really diss Lil Wayne.
Or
he
Birdman.
was just kind of like he threw shots at him, but it wasn't like.
I heard more about Birdman than Lil Wayne.
In this track you're talking about?
Yeah, well, he's talking about he's a shot but not a fire, and that he's another multi-million artist trapped.
Yeah. He said he's basically blasting like Birdman for shady business practices and like saying he's holding back Wayne and like the reason that he can't retire. And I mean, it's almost like it makes Wayne kind of seem like they're almost like jabs at Wayne, but they're like, I care about you jabs. Like, I see this guy taking advantage of you and you're not your old self. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're almost like, they're jabs, but they're not really jabs. It's like, I feel bad for you jabs, kind of. Like, he's not like trying to attack Lil Wayne. He's just saying, like, they're more shots at Birdman.
Lil Wayne's like one of those guys. He's like, I mean, he's not the best rapper of all time, as people say, but like, he's so big for his career. And like, he's the only guy in his generation that's not like a boss.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he should have by now left that label. He should have his own label. He already knows how to sign talent. He signed Nicki Minaj and Drake, two of the biggest artists in hip hop in the past 20th century. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what century we're in. We're in the 22nd century.
No, it's the 21st. Centuries go by 100 years.
Sorry. Anyways.
21st century.
But he can
until
sign talent.
2000 and 100.
You know.
Or 2000.
And like Rick Ross has his own label. He signed several artists and.
But, like, see how they've all panned... Like, not all of them have... I mean, I guess not all of them are going to pan out. Yeah, Wayne could have started his own label. And there was talk about him going to The Rock after Cash Money.
Why would you do that?
Well, because, like, you have to understand that, like, the way Cash Money was run, it was, like, a family business. Like, it's hard for you to leave someone you call your father or even admit that you're someone that you consider your father is holding you back or withholding money from you. It's like... It's not like an artist on a label saying, "Realize, oh, I'm not getting the money that I deserve." If I was holding money back from you, or if Dad was like our business manager and he was screwing us over, like you wouldn't. If you love them, you're not going to expect them to screw you over. You just assume like, oh, they're in my best interest, and they're not necessarily intentionally screwing you over. You know, It's like that's why it's tough to mix family with business. But in general, I think obviously he's talking about the ghostwriting in that track. You know,
Quentin Miller again.
Yeah, he says, you know, he's all hooks and beats, no like lyrical content. Like, and I've always said that where it's like recently Drake, I feel like he used to have a lot to say, and I feel like he doesn't really have much to say anymore. You know, it's kind of like a lot of fluff dance tracks, which
I mean, he's a pop artist now.
Yeah, and like that's what the main criticism Pusha has, where it's like. He has nothing of substance to say. He's basically saying he's like you're making songs for like white people to dance to or like people to girls to dance to in the club.
At the same time, many of them hit huge mainstream pop rap artists. They don't have anything really of substance to say. Like that's how they reach a large audience by saying very generic things that anyone can get behind.
For sure. But I think to me Drake's better than that. Like I feel like he has some interesting things that he could talk about, and the whole thing about the race thing. I mean, we'll get to that later, but it's like if this is an issue that you care about, and like being a black man and like want to portray how, then we never heard that in any of your music. You never like expressed that, and that's like the authenticity part of like he's holding stuff back. He's not speaking about what he's feeling. But in general, then we have obviously the next day within 24 hours, Drake drops the Doopy freestyle, which I think we can probably just leave in because of the nerve, the audacity. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play that just so we can have. Obviously, we have our thoughts about it already.
Is that an original beat?
I don't know who the beat is.
I didn't think about it till I heard Pusha's, but I like that beat. I thought it was a good song. Like,
I mean, yeah, it was good, but
like as a standalone.
Like I said, he tried. Like he was like, all right, I'm just gonna shrug this guy off. Like his tone was like, I'm gonna shrug this guy off. Like,
but I think that's his image of like I'm Drake the superstar.
Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying.
People are listening to this song like, the audacity of this guy no one's heard of, Pusha T.
But he's not. But that's the thing. Pusha T is not Meek Mill. He can't just do that to Pusha
I know.
T. That's what he didn't realize.
But it's more. I think it's more the image that he's trying to portray to the people listening than how he actually feels. Like, oh my god, this is so annoying.
Well, okay. Actually, do you think? All right. I'm trying to. Well, thinking about the release of everything, do you think that if that image didn't exist, do you think that it would be as intense of a beef? Like, the fact that, like, obviously, like, he revealed, like, the whole
No, I don't think Push would come at him if he didn't on top of the world.
So you don't think he would even come out at him if he didn't have that? I'm saying, like, that picture that came out.
Oh.
I'm saying if that picture didn't exist, do you think that it would have had
the same effect?
I mean, obviously not the same effect, but do you think it would still have a punch, or would people be saying, "Oh, Drake still won"?
Oh, I think it would be
that.
I think that's a thumbnail or a cover will make a big difference because before you click on the record, you're like, "Oh shit, wow."
Yeah.
And as you listen to the song, you're looking at this man in blackface.
Well, also, I didn't mean.
But I think the song itself is really. I mean, it's a really good song. I mean, good song. I guess it's a good diss track. So I think it would still would have won, quote unquote, but it wouldn't be as much of a shocking like, oh shit.
I feel like the image was a good like.
Good way to get people to watch it.
It drew you in. There was a controversy to it because it wasn't just like any old diss. Like before the image and like Pusha T's diss track, the hip hop world was paying attention. But now like all of news is like, oh, this is.
I was gonna say, I think the
like
attention
CNN's commenting on the beef, not just like, complex.
The attention and views it gets on YouTube and all that is much bigger. But I think the result of who won is still the same.
Yeah, I think for me, it's like just the way he did it was so strategic that let's just it was just so strategic. Let's just play the Doopy freestyle. Duppy or Doopy, I don't know.
Doopy is a Jamaican phrase for dead.
Oh, okay.
That's what I got from the Joe Budden podcast.
Big ups to Joe Budden.
Am I allowed to shout out other podcasts?
Oh yeah, I like Joe Budden.
Is that like Burger King and McDonald's? I can't do that.
No, it's fine. There's no
rules.
I mean,
no hold bars.
We have no endorsements yet. I just say things I like. I don't think about.
I listen to the Joe Budden podcast every week.
I don't, but I've like. Sometimes Joe can be a bit too much. He's a lot.
Well, I don't really watch just for him. I like Mullen, Rory. But anyways,
I don't watch it all the time, but I did enjoy the podcast, the recent one. All right, so we're gonna play this, and
that was really.
I'm gonna leave it in.
That was such a fun episode. I got so excited listening to that.
It was really funny. I'm gonna leave this track in so people can actually hear it on the podcast because I don't think that they're gonna. It's a SoundCloud track, Plus Joe Budden left it in, so.
The nerve, the audacity.
Okay. In retrospect, it makes him look like a fool.
So if you rebuke me for working with someone else on a couple of V's, what do you really think of the nigga that's making your beats? I've done things for him I thought that he never would need. Father had to stretch his hands out and get it from me. I pop style for 30 hours and let him repeat. Now you popping up with the jokes, I'm dead, I'm asleep. I just left from over by y'all putting pen to the sheets. Tired of sitting quiet and helping my enemies eat. Keep getting temperature checks, they know that my head overheats. Don't know why the fuck you niggas listen to Dead, I'm a Steve. Must have had your infrared wrong, now your head in a beam. Y'all are the spitting image of whatever jealousy breeds. Don't push me when I'm in album mode. You're not even top 5 as far as your label talent goes. You send shots, well I gotta challenge those. But I bring calicos to the Alamo. I could never have a Virgil in my circle and hold him back cause he makes me nervous. I wanna see my brothers flourish to their higher purpose. You niggas leeches and serpents, I think it's good and now the teachers are learning. Yeah, your brother said it was your cousin and him then you. So you don't rap what you did, you just rap what you knew. Don't be ashamed, there's plenty niggas that do what you do. There's no malice in your heart, you an approachable dude. Man, you might have sold to college kids for Nike Mercedes, but you act like you sold drugs for Escobar in the 80s. I had a microphone of yours, but then the signature faded. I think that pretty much resembles what's been happening lately. Please believe your demise will be televised. Yeah. And as for Q, man, I changed his life a couple times. Nigga was at Kroger working double time. Y'all acting like he made the boy when I was trying to help the guy. Yeah. Who gassed you to play with me? Man, you made this shit as easy as ABCs. Whoever supposedly making me hits, but ain't got no hits, sound like they need me. My hooks did it, my lyrics did it, my spirit did it. I'm fearless with it, yeah. I really shouldn't have given you none of my time, cause you older than the nigga you running behind. Look, holla at me when you multi-million. I told you keep playing with my name and I'ma let it ring on you like Virginia Williams. I'm too resilient, get out your feelings. It's gonna be a cool summer for you. I told Weezy and baby I'ma done them for you. Tell Ye we got an invoice coming to you, considering that we just sold another 20 for you.
Alright, so I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. And like I said, it has this very condescending tone, like, I can't believe I have to do this, like, this is not even worth my time. And, like, obviously when you do that, you have to be ready to kill it. And I'll admit, like, as someone that's not a huge Drake fan at this moment, I mean, he actually some of his recent stuff I've really been liking. The Block Boy JB song and Nice for What. But I mean, I'll admit, he did kill it. He did bring it. But Push just came back and slapped him in the face with his cocky ass.
Just out of curiosity, Zach, the few ones I didn't like was like, if you can find me 5 artists more talented on good music than Pusha T.
On the Joe Budden podcast, they were trying to be like, oh, well, Kid Cudi. I'm like,
well, he was just trying to come up with like how he got that. Like,
there's
Big Sean, I guess, because he's popular. And
Big Sean is not more talented.
But we're just talking about like.
No, I'm just saying like, think about who's on the good music lineup.
All I have is Kanye.
Even if you tried to get 5, okay, 2 Chainz. Maybe you could say 2 Chainz is more talented than Pusha T. I mean, he has been until recently, and has that changed? He's not in good music anymore.
I don't know if he ever was. I thought he was just like buddy with them. But I would just say Kanye and then Push.
Well, okay, so all right, on the label, let's say Kanye. You like if you're trying to say 2 Chainz, if you're trying to say Big Sean,
Kid Cudi.
You can't say Kid Cudi. I'm sorry. As far as consistency, you can't say Kid Cudi. I love Kid Cudi, but he hasn't put anything good out in a while.
Demons. I like the last.
You like the one
Pains, Beat Demons.
The one where the wailing one.
No, Pains, Demons, and Demon Slaying.
Was that the one with the
Baptized in the Church?
What's the cover look like?
He's shirtless in the pink and purplish tone.
Okay, that's not as bad as the other one.
I like that one a lot.
Okay. Well,
yeah, Speedball to Heaven was not great.
It's just like, I think the thing with Cudi was that he made some nice hooks, and then he got a little big-headed, and he thought he could do everything, and he's like, I'm going to put out a rock record. And he thought he was like a great singer.
There's never been one good rock rap.
Because he had, like, he never had like a great singing voice. He just had like a distinct voice, so it sounded good. But like, don't give me an album where you're trying to sing the whole way, because it's going to sound bad. Like, it's not... He was never a great singer. Like, him singing a whole album would not be great. But
can you make a good rap album? Because the whole idea of the white guys making the rock music from the early 2000s, and like anytime anyone makes a like Rebirth by Lil Wayne, like that rock album he had, they're always seen as garbage.
I mean, you have to be super talented in order to blend those styles. There are some examples of like
Yeezus.
rap rock-esque stuff that I think is good. Yeezus isn't even... It's like experimental hip-hop, but I don't want to get into Yeezus. Right. That's a whole other can of worms. I'm just saying I have very strong opinions about Yeezus.
Gotcha.
And we don't need to go on that far onto that tangent. So basically what he was saying at this, we talked about, like, he's like saying
he's helping Quentin Miller out, apparently.
He's helping Quentin Miller out.
Poor pal.
Which is like, I get it, because it's like there's certain people that like might never have a hit.
But that's not why he's doing it.
Like, it's obviously not why he was doing it, but he did help him out indirectly, you know?
Yeah.
He wasn't, like, he didn't just see a random guy like, oh, I really want to help out this guy.
Wow, you got good songs for me.
Oh, wow, he actually has some good songs. Let me use this. No, he's like, oh, okay, I'll help this guy out. I'll make some good songs. It'll help me out, you know? Yeah. So he also said that Kanye, like, stretched his hands out. Father stretched his hands out to get it from me. Like, he helped out Kanye. I don't know the context of that, if there's, like, a specific instance. I think they did work together on a song, and people were like, oh, Kanye and Drake aren't beefing. They have a song together. They must be chill. Basically he was just saying, like, oh, you didn't really sell like that. You have no malice in your heart. He's like, you were just like the third guy down the line. You didn't really sell. He's like, you got no malice in your heart, which is his brother's name.
Oh, I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Another thing is, like, hit a mic with your signature. So he's like, what's cool about that is he's addressing something that, yeah, he used to be a fan. So he's addressing something that Pusha could use against him and saying, yeah, I had a mic with your signature on it. But the signature faded just like your career has. So it's like he's using something that Pusha could use against him. It's the whole 8 Mile Eminem, you know. Are you familiar with when I say that? Where, like, have you seen the last scene of 8 Mile?
I've never seen 8 Mile.
It's like, you know what it's about, though. It's like Eminem, basically his life and, like, he's come up. Like, not specifically like this is Eminem, but he's basically playing himself. And, like, the last verse, they're always like shitting on him for being this white honky, blah, blah, blah. And what he does is he's like, all right, I'm going to go first. And he took everything that guy was going to say about him. He's like, yeah, I am a white honky, white trash. Like, he just owned all of it. So the guy, when he went to diss him, didn't have anything to say. Like, he couldn't, he, like, owned, you know when you own your faults?
Cover your own back.
It's like if you own your faults, then they can't be used against you.
Yeah.
Like, if you admit, like, yeah, I am this, I am that, but so what? I'm still going to murder you in this beef, and there's nothing you can say about it. And the guy was like, because he didn't have anything to say. So it's like, if you know what your opponents might use against you or might say,
it's like in life in general, though. If you have like 3 eyeballs, or if you
3 eyeballs.
Well, I don't want to make anything specific. Like, if you're overweight, or like if you have terrible, like, skin or whatever, if you just at an event you just come out and say that, no one's gonna whisper behind your back about it. If you just say, yeah, I'm the 3-eyed weirdo.
Yeah, it's just like having confidence about things you can't change. Like, like, obviously, if you're overweight, you could potentially eat better and hit the gym. You know, you could change that potentially. But if it's something that you can't change, then you can. Then if you just own it with confidence, then you're better off. And
people on Instagram do so many times the small penis gang. So many rappers would be like, take 6ix9ine is like the small penis group, or whatever he's saying about small penis.
Yeah.
Like, okay, gotcha. You have a small dick. Cool.
Let's see. The other thing that was like really was like lame was just like, call me when you're multi-platinum. He's like, basically the most lamest diss of like, I have more money than you, where it's just like that doesn't counteract what the points that he's making. Yeah. It's just like a flex. Like, I make more money than you, so you shouldn't be able to talk about anything.
The same way then.
The invoice was a good flex. That was actually a really good flex of him being like, no, but the invoice was saying like, here's an invoice for all the work I did to help you sell more records
for Daytona.
Yeah, he's like, because of you, I sold more records. That's like more of an actual flex versus I have more money than you, so be quiet. Like, so I thought that was a very good flex. He dropped that and he put the invoice, like I said, for $100,000 to Good Music for, he said, for promotional assistance and career reviving. It's basically insinuating that he sold more records because Drake did, because he threw Drake's name in.
He sold like 75K, which is pretty good.
75K?
Yeah, for Daytona. It was like 30,000 pure.
Copies or no? Or like
just out like weekly sales. The numbers come in at the end of the week.
Yeah.
It's like 30,000 pure sales, which is people actually bought it on iTunes or physical copy.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's like doing good for certain artists. It really depends what artist you are. Like if when Yachty dropped Teenage Emotions, that did what 100
flop. It was about 47,000.
Yeah, that's bad in general.
That's bad,
but especially for an artist that huge. The angle might not be perfect, but we got the camera back. Like I said, camera died, so we're going off phone now. We'll see what we get. We'll see what we get. So
we leave off on.
We're talking about Lil Yachty, but So yeah, he drops that Doopy freestyle. I think we pretty much covered all of that. Then the invoice. Then we were on Tuesday.
So everyone thought Drake won.
Everyone thought Drake won after that. It looked like he won. Like this is over. Then we have Story Odd. We haven't even gotten to that, and we were so far into this already. We've been
just going too deep.
Anyway, so yeah, we're not gonna talk about Kanye's album because I got to dash in like 15 minutes. Story add on. I want to say I think the kid's name is Adonis, and basically the idea was that the kid was gonna line up with the Adidas drop, like he was gonna reveal that he has a son. With the Adidas line. Basically, should we play the track? We probably don't have that much. I have notes on it anyway. I think we probably all have thoughts about it.
Okay.
Why? Well, you give me those eyes for.
Everything's going so quick all of a sudden.
Well, yeah, because I need to dash, so I'm just like, all right, well, I'll slow it down for a second. Just like, we don't have to play the track because I got to dash soon. But basically, you know, he generally attacks his integrity, calls him a hypocrite.
Talks about this Adidas line. His son deserves more than an Adidas line.
Yeah. He's like, Adidas is their son.
His dad he's a what do you call it when the dad leaves?
He calls him basically he's like a deadbeat dad. He's like he's no better than your dad that left you.
Right.
And basically that you're hiding your kid. He says your kid with a porn star, which is like the issue is not that she's a porn star. The issue is that he's like hiding a kid and like not bringing it home.
Her
if that's
Instagram
true.
up real good too. She has like 12 photos now, and she's like a nice motherly woman.
Yeah, he says you're using her. Basically, you're using your son for a press release with Adidas. You know, he deserves better than that. Bring him home.
It does feel like it's just like he's using him to help sell shoes.
Yeah, it does feel like very like.
Let's hide him to all these theaters, right? Now I want to sell shoes, so we're gonna do this now. Bring him out. It'd be great.
Well, also because Drake is so calculated with everything that he does, that this really like messes everything up, and it's like he's so secretive about stuff that like until it's ready to drop or whatever, that it's just this really fucks with that. Not only like this is on his integrity, but he's ready to drop an album. He dropped the singles, like he's ready for the release, and it's just like it's just fucking with his mind, like fucking with his day.
Getting, like so many hits. Yeah, I look at that Spotify top 10 song charts.
Yeah,
he's on 5 of them. He has Lil Baby song, Yes Indeed, JB Black Boy, God's Plan, Nice for What, I'm Upset.
Yeah.
And
produced by Oogie Man. Shout out to Oogie Man.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I like how they cut down the tag because it's Drake. And
what they do the tag?
I just knew that because of the tag. I didn't know that. I don't know if you knew how you knew, but like that's crazy because I know the tag like when he did Chapa's project, it was like, I don't know the language, but it's like this whole long conversation, right? You know the long dialogue for his tag, this long Asian chat.
I've never heard that one. I've just heard
Anyways, the end of it is like, I'm working on a lie.
Working on dying.
So that was all that was on the Drake song was, I'm working on dying.
No, that's a lot of his songs with Maddox are just like, I'm working on dying, and then the beat drops a little bit.
The bass guy, he keeps having this long sampled dialogue of
What song is that?
The whole band God tape.
Oh, okay, I've never listened to the full band.
You should listen to the whole tape.
Yeah, I think the camera died, but probably because it doesn't have any battery. But
this podcast is just evolving.
We're deep into it anyway. It's fine. Well, I mean, we knew that the camera might die because of the battery, but I'd rather just do it. And I think another thing to point out about is like what I thought was interesting is he starts off like, "Oh, it's gonna be a surgical summer," as almost like this seemed like he just put everything on the table.
Yeah, we're
but
supposed to have to say.
But it sounds like he has more in the tank. Like, oh, I have more if you come
he
back.
should do it or not come back. What Drake did with Meek Mill, he just kept coming at him. That worked great. Pusha should just release that song tomorrow.
But I don't think he has to. That's the thing. It would just.
Oh yeah.
You should save it until Drake actually looks like he's because Drake's. I think we can both agree that Drake's currently losing this beef.
I mean, the way diss tracks always works, like if they're good, the person that always has the last song is winning. So if Drake has a good song, he'll be winning because people care about what happened recently. So
yeah, but let's see.
Like if Drake's song is above average, people will be like, I don't know who's winning now.
And, no, it's interesting because like it literally just made Drake go into damage control. Like they also privated was Sophie, I don't know her name.
Sophia or something.
They private her Twitter. And then instead of
I like him
I think it was funny that instead of responding, all right, like 2 days later, he didn't respond with a diss track. He responded with a screenshot of a written note that he wrote on his Instagram.
He's like, I'm glad I was enjoying the circus.
I have it here. I have it written. I'm going to read it out.
Do like a good narrator voice.
I know everyone is enjoying the circus, but I want to clarify this image in question. This was not from a clothing brand shoot or my music career. This picture is from 2007, a time in my life where I was an actor and I worked on a project that was about young black actors struggling to get roles, being stereotyped and typecast. The photos represent how African Americans were once wrongly portrayed in entertainment. Me and my best friend at the time, Mazen Elzadig, I think is that maybe how you pronounce it, is also an actor from Sudan. We're attempting to use our voice to bring awareness to the issues we dealt with all the time as black actors at auditions. This was to highlight and raise our frustrations with not always getting a fair chance in the industry and to make a point that the struggle for black actors has not changed much. Which Drake pushed then responded to, I think it was the next day on Friday, and said, basically he's like, I'm not buying it. Or no, he said it the day of. He says, I'm not buying it. I don't believe it at all. You are silent on all black issues, Drake, with a huge platform. So basically he's saying, like, back to what he says, is like, your lyrics have no content, and now you want to defend this image that you came out with. And it's like, how can you pretend like, oh, now you care about these issues when you don't say it in any of your music? Which I mean, I agree with to an extent. Like, Drake's interesting is like, if you never felt, you know, he's half black, he's Jewish, he's in this weird position where he's like, if he felt weird about being mixed race or he had like not being black enough, like, it's weird that he like didn't say anything about it in his song. Like, obviously you don't have to go full Logic, huh? Just bring it up every 5 seconds, but like. No, like Logic, obviously he gets too much hate, but yeah, it's almost like he kind of like distanced himself from it without addressing it, and that's why like there's a layer of authenticity that's just not there with him that I never really rocked with, never really rocked with. I liked his earlier stuff because it actually felt like pretty real. And then Pusha also made a tweet about how like apparently, I don't know if this was verified, but Drake was like, he's like, he made it sound like Drake was he said putting like 100, he said you got 100K floating around for info, can't no amount of money create skeletons that don't exist, and he's like hashtag I'm upset as like a joke about Drake's single. So yeah, he's just toying with him.
I think there'll be a song out tonight or this afternoon. I wouldn't be surprised. Featuring Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne Drake song coming out this afternoon or tonight. That's what I expect.
I mean, they gotta respond soon. He should have responded already.
Because you had to wait for Lil Wayne to get on that song.
Yeah, and then also Kanye threw a little, you know, this is a side note, but he threw some jabs on No Mistakes. It was kind of like very unclear. He was kind of just rambling. He called him light-skinned, and then blah, blah, blah.
He mentioned Drake specifically?
No, he just said something about like light-skinned, and like, it was definitely a rush. And then he's like, we're not about beef. Like,
Kanye said it was done.
Yeah, it's done. That's what he said. He's like, I'm done with this. But there was some words in his song. What's the name of it? No Mistakes on his album, which I was gonna use that to transition into talking to his album about his album. But like I said, we really went all in on the Pusha T Drake beef.
It's exciting stuff.
Let's see.
Favorite song on the Kanye album?
Wait, let me just look at these questions that I have, and see if there's. Okay, so we agree that Pusha's up, but and what would you say Drake's? Do we agree that like Drake, he's done some permanent damage to Drake's image, at least to an extent?
Depends how this ends.
I think he's definitely done some damage to his image. I mean, he hasn't destroyed him. He hasn't destroyed his career. Obviously not. He didn't jaw rule him. He didn't jaw rule him. But would you say?
Wait, are you referencing the Eminem Ja Rule beef? Where Eminem ripped on Ja Rule?
No.
Oh.
Talking about 50 destroying Ja Rule's career.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with my old school hip hop. Well, not old school, but old school for me. Sorry.
Yeah, and I guess does this change your view of Drake?
I mean, it's a little shocking. This man's in blackface, but I guess. I mean, I don't really have a strong image of Drake to begin with. I never really cared for him. I never really liked him at all. I mean, I didn't listen to any of his albums really.
Mm-hmm.
I like a handful of songs, but I never really liked him, so I was always gonna go Push.
For sure.
So, I mean, that was a little difficult because I love Lil Wayne, so Lil Wayne's on track with Drake. I don't like Push talking about Lil Wayne, but yeah, I mean, Drake's image to me was always poopy, so this is fine.
So, and I guess, how do you think, what's the best course of action for Drake? What do you think he can do to fix this?
I think he should...
How can he respond?
I don't know how he can respond. I think if I was Drake, I would just put my head down and release my album and actually...
Just wait it out? I think that's what he's doing because he realizes, like...
He's so big that he can do that. Not in terms of his image being saved, but, like, time always fixes things where people will drift away. His songs will do numbers. He'll get... I think it actually, at this point... All he can do is wait
I think that if he... I don't think there's anything he can say in a diss record that...
I think responding's good, though.
Will make him win. Like, I think that his best course of action might... I mean, we should have had a response already. Instead of a response, he's like threw out a, like I said, a freaking note that he typed out. So, I think that... Sorry, I hear you breathing in the mic, and it just really distracted
Well, I think he can't respond much about Push, but I think he can just defend himself.
You think it's better that...
I think with the next track, this track should be a defense of everything that Push said. And he doesn't have much to go at Push anymore about, because Push doesn't have a lot to go at, apparently. So, naturally, you would just defend what was said about you, and then that would probably hopefully just let it fizzle out.
Yeah, but it's also like, does trying to defend it make it worse? Like, is it indefensible? Do you just like... would it be better for him to just stop, kind of let it fade away and then drop this album and then everyone forgets about it because the album's fire?
If he's a fire album, then yeah.
His album better be fire.
Although if
the album's trash, no one's gonna forget it.
Watch it just be nice for what in God's plan, and he's just gonna go fucking...
I mean, I feel like most of his albums, even when they've had recent albums, when they've had hot singles, they've been, 6... Views from the 6 was supposed to be like, this is the Drake album that we've all been...
You really didn't have that many big singles,
the peak of Drake, like, this is what it's going to be. And it was just this long, drawn-out, boring, like,
it had
filler-filled
lead singles going into it. But all these songs are catching really well, like, Nice for What and God's Plan. I wonder if Diplomatic Immunity will be on this project.
I haven't heard that one.
That's the... You know what that is, though? That's the other track with God's Plan on that EP. Oh, I saw that Pusha T was in contacts with... So you'll hear about how Drake ripped off, shockingly. He ripped off the... I'm trying to push and talk about how he's just ripping off other people's stuff. But anyways, there was that EP. You know that Scary Hours EP? Drake released this EP called Scary Hours, which was God's Plan and Diplomatic Immunity. And the cover was very identical to some other indie artists' cover for a song or album a few years earlier. So I saw on I think it was Reddit maybe or Twitter that Pusha T like instant DM'd that guy. Maybe to get more information or something.
Yeah, he's got more in the arsenal. All right, so yeah, for some reason, I accidentally pressed spacebar and caught the audio. But so yeah, I think we're pretty much wrapped up anyway.
That's a wrap on that.
That's a wrap on that. This is the end of the Hip Hop Maybe Do It podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check us out on all social media.
Becker3738. I got the hottest one photo in the Instagram game. Check me out.
At Hip Hop Maybe Do on Instagram at Hip Hop Maybe Do _ on Instagram and Twitter. Hip Hop Maybe Do It on everything else. And we got more shirts. We got Hip Hop Maybe Do tees if you want to purchase. We've almost broken even, so yeah, that'd be great. Cup of tea, they're pretty fly.
I might get one.
Anyway, have a great evening. Stay toasty, my friends.
Warm morning.
And we're out.